Alright, today we're diving into the world of AI coding tools, and right now, this space is moving insanely fast. Not too long ago, if someone said AI coding editor, the first name most people would mention was Cursor. It became one of the most recognizable tools in the scene, and a lot of developers started treating it like the go-to option for AI-assisted coding. But here's the thing, the space didn't stop there. Now we're seeing more serious players enter the conversation, and the whole idea of what an AI coding tool even is starting to expand. On one side, you've got Google Antigravity, which represents Google stepping deeper into the AI developer world, pushing a bigger direction for what software building might look like when AI becomes part of the workflow instead of just an add-on feature. Then you've got Cursor, which is still one of the most popular AI-first coding environments, and for a lot of people it's become part of their everyday development routine. And now we also have Claude Code, which is another major name being brought into this discussion, and it's part of this new wave where AI tools aren't just competing for attention, they're competing to define how developers will build in the future. Now before we go any further, let me be super clear. This video is not about saying this one is the best or turning this into a fanboy war. There's no clear winner here, because these tools can fit different styles, different workflows, and different types of builders. What we're doing today is simple. We're going to break everything down fact by fact, and by the end, you'll have a much clearer idea of which one matches your workflow and the way you like to build. So if you're a developer trying to speed things up without losing control, or you're a beginner who wants to code faster while still actually learning, or you're a builder who just wants to ship projects with fewer headaches, then you're in the right place. If you're into this kind of content, make sure to subscribe and stay tuned for future videos.
Alright, so first things first, let's talk about the core purpose of each tool. Because once you understand what problem each one is trying to solve, everything else becomes way clearer. Let's start with Cursor. Cursor is basically positioned as a coding environment with an AI pair programmer built into it. And when I say that, I don't mean just a chatbot on the side. I mean the editor itself feels like it's designed around the idea that AI should be part of your daily coding workflow. So Cursor's main goal is simple. Make you code faster and smarter inside the editor, while still keeping you in control. It's meant for people who are actively writing code every day. Developers who live inside a code editor and want AI to help them move quicker, refactor faster, and reduce the boring repetitive work. Now, on the other side, we got Google Antigravity. Antigravity is more like Google-style AI assistant development direction, meaning it's not just trying to be an editor feature. It's more like a bigger vision, how AI fits into building software in general, especially when it's connected to a larger ecosystem. So instead of thinking this helps me type code better, the mindset is more like, this helped me build software with AI assistance across the entire process. That includes things like ideation, planning, generating code, improving it, and even connecting with other tools and services. Now we add Claude Code into the picture. Claude Code sits somewhere different from both of these. Its core purpose is centered around high-quality reasoning, understanding intent, and assisting with complex thinking around code. Rather than being primarily an editor-first experience, Claude Code feels more like an assistant that's strong at understanding requirements, reasoning through logic, explaining and generating code with clarity, and helping developers think through problems before and during implementation. So instead of living strictly inside an editor, it focuses more on being a strong coding intelligence you can interact with directly. If you want to learn more about these AI tools, make sure to join our free school community. We teach everything from ground up with hands-on projects. Now let's talk about the whole coding workflow and the user experience. Because at the end of the day, it's not just about what a tool claims to do. It's about how it feels when you're actually working on real code. So let's start with the reality of daily development. Most of the time, you are doing things like writing new code, refactoring older code, debugging when things break, and navigating big code bases without losing your mind. With Cursor, the workflow is very clearly editor first, meaning you're already coding, you're already inside the editor, and Cursor's AI is right there with you. A big part of Cursor's flow is inline generation. So instead of switching out of your editor and asking a chatbot questions all day, you can literally be inside a file, place your cursor, and have the AI generate code exactly where you need it. That makes it feel natural for things like writing utility functions, filling in boilerplate, rewriting sections clearly during refactoring. Then there's also the chat plus edit in code-based context side. So you can ask it something like, refactor this function to be more readable, or find where this bug is coming from, and it responds while understanding your project files, not just a single snippet you pasted. And that changes you a lot because you're not just getting advice, you are getting guidance that's tied to your actual code. So Cursor feels like this. You are the driver, AI is the co-pilot. You are doing hands-on coding and AI is speeding up your execution. When it comes to Google Antigravity, it feels like a whole different workflow vibe. It's not an editor focus in the same way as Cursor. Instead, it leans into the idea of AI being your bigger assistant layer across the building process. So the workflow feels more like assistant-driven and assistant-integrated, meaning you're not necessarily always inside code line by line edits. Instead, you might interact with it more like describe what you want to build, getting guided suggestions, generating chunks of solutions. In simple terms, Antigravity is more like AI is guiding the coding, not just helping you type faster. Claude Code feels less like autocomplete and more like a senior engineer sitting next to you. Instead of jumping straight to code, Claude Code tends to reason first. It reads your code carefully, understands the intent, and then makes changes that are deliberate and safe. Where Claude Code really shines is refactoring and debugging. It's very good at perceiving behavior, improving readability, and explaining why your change is better, not just what changed. If you are working in a large or sensitive code base, Claude is less likely to introduce random abstractions or breakage cases. It is slower than tools like Cursor, but that's intentional. It optimizes the correctness over speed. The best way to think about Claude Code is as a thinking partner. You bring the problem and Claude helps you reason through it, design the solution, and then implement it cleanly. If Cursor helps you code faster, Claude Code helps you code better. Now let's get into the make or break part of AI coding tools. Code intelligence, context awareness, and most importantly, reliability. Because honestly, flashy features don't matter if the AI can't handle real-world coding situations. Let's start with the first problem, very large projects. In a big code base, everything is connected. Modules, imports, components, API calls, config files. And if an AI tool doesn't understand the structure, it can easily suggest something that looks right but breaks the whole system. With Cursor, one of its biggest strengths is the way it behaves in editor workflows with repo-level context, meaning it doesn't feel like it only knows what you paste. It is more like it can follow what's happening across files. And that makes it more useful for making changes without breaking dependencies, updating multiple related functions consistently, and adjusting patterns across the code base instead of editing in isolation. So Cursor tends to feel strong when you're working on a real project, not just random snippets. Now, when it comes to Google Antigravity, the advantage lean more towards raw model intelligence and broader reasoning ability. Even if you're not locked into an editor flow, the direction here feels like it's built on Google's AI capabilities, meaning it can potentially be better at understanding higher level programming intent, making architectural suggestions, and reasoning through complex logic, including edge cases and designing trade-offs. So it may feel more powerful for thinking through the problem, not just writing the code. The next important point is reading the existing code. Good AI coded tools should understand what the code is trying to do, not just rewrite it blindly. Cursor tends to feel comfortable, ask things like, what does this function do? Rewrite this without changing behavior. It is designed around working with existing code. Antigravity, on the other hand, may be better for higher level analysis like, what is the cleanest approach for this feature? What is the best pattern for this system? So Cursor leans into code-based interaction while Antigravity leans into broader reasoning. Now let's talk about the context, because this is a lot of AI tools fall apart. Context isn't just remembering what you said 10 seconds ago. It's remembering what your project is built with, the patterns you are using, and Cursor can feel more stable here because it's operating inside of the development workflow itself where the code is present. Antigravity, depending on how it's implemented, may rely more on what you provide and how much the system can access from project environment. Claude Code is extremely strong at reading and understanding existing code before it ever makes changes. It does a great job maintaining long-range context, which makes it especially reliable in large or legacy code base where intent matters more than speed. Compared to other tools, Claude is less likely to hallucinate changes or invent APIs that don't actually exist. When it refactors code, it focuses on preserving behavior and intent, even when the logic is complex or sensitive. That's why Claude often feels safer to use in production-level code. It optimizes for correctness and clarity than the quick wins. The trade-off is speed. Claude is slower and more conservative than tools like Cursor, and it's usually less proactive unless you explicitly ask it to explore or modify broader parts of the repository. But if reliability matters more than raw speed, Claude Code is one of the most dependable AI coding partners you can use. Now let's talk about long-term potential. Because even if a tool is great today, what we are deciding its success is how well it fits into real workflows over time. So first, when it comes to availability, because accessibility is straightforward. It's already positioned as an AI-first coding environment that developers can actually use and integrate into their day-to-day workflow right now. That's a big part of why it has momentum. It is practical and immediately usable. With Google Antigravity, the situation is different. Antigravity is more of a Google-backed division for AI development, meaning its availability and how widely people can use it depends on how Google chooses it to release, expand over time. And so in terms of who can use what today, Cursor feels more like a tool you can adopt directly into your current routine, while Antigravity depends more on rollout and integration. Next is ecosystem integration. And this is where the difference becomes really interesting, because Antigravity expands the potential advantage is obvious. Google Search. That means it could eventually connect into things like cloud infrastructure, development platforms, AI services, and other Google tools, giving it a big ecosystem advantage if that vision becomes real. Cursor, on the other hand, is built more around the existing developer tooling ecosystem. Editors, workflows, reports, and the daily developer stack. The strength here is that Cursor fits into how developers already work, rather than requiring a whole new ecosystem to be useful. Now, when it comes to the future direction, Google typically plays long game. If they move forward with Antigravity seriously, they may aim for large-scale integration where AI development support becomes part of the bigger platform. Cursor's direction is more focused, like pushing deeper productivity features, improving how AI assists coding inside the editor, and making the developer workflow faster and smoother over time. But here's the honest truth. Both futures come with uncertainty. Long-term success doesn't only depend on features. It depends on adoption by real developers, consistent updates, trust in reliability and quality. So at this stage, Cursor feels more like a strong practical tool today, while Antigravity represents a larger potential division. And we'll have to see how far it actually goes. Claude Code is already accessible today through Anthropic's cloud products and integration, making it easy for developers to use alongside their existing editors and workflows. Rather than replacing your tools, Claude fits into them, which lowers friction and makes adoption straightforward. From an ecosystem perspective, Claude Code is less about owning the entire developer experience and more about being a high-quality reasoning layer. It works well with existing tooling and avoids locking developers into a single platform or IDE. Looking ahead, Claude's likely direction is deeper focus on correctness, safety, and trust in code generation. Instead of aggressive automation, it prioritizes understanding, intent preservation, and reliability, especially for complex or production-based code bases. Like all AI coding tools, its long-term success depends on adoption, continued updates, and developer trust. But if that trust continues to grow, Claude Code is well positioned as a dependable long-term coding partner, rather than a short-term productivity hack. When it comes to AI coding tool, there is no clear winner here. And that's the point. These tools serve different needs. Cursor is for developers who want an AI-native coding experience directly inside the editor. Antigravity is for those interested in Google's AI direction and the power of future ecosystem integrations. And Claude Code is for developers who want a careful reasoning-first coding partner that prioritizes correctness and clarity. If your workflow is all about daily hands-on coding, Cursor makes sense. If you're betting on Google's long-term AI ecosystem, Antigravity is worth watching. And if you work with complex or sensitive code bases, Claude Code is a safer choice. At the end of the day, the best tool is the one that matches how you build. If you are serious about building solutions like this and you are willing to learn step by step and work on real projects, you're welcome to join our free community. Inside, we teach everything from ground up, starting from zero with practical hands-on guidance. And if you're someone who's interested in using this solution but doesn't want to dive into technical side and instead wants to move faster and scale sooner, you can also partner with us and hire our tech team to build these systems for you. Either way, the goal is the same, helping you move from ideas to real working solutions.